Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Two very important things that we've been waiting for to happen are now happening. We see Ethereum breaking out, which historically leads the altcoin rally. We've been waiting for it to break through $4,000. Happened yesterday. It's continuing that push today. Also, Bitcoin dominance dropped below 60% for the first time in a long time, and analysts expect that trend is going to continue. That is another sign that alt season is at hand. And on top of that, there is no shortage of XRP chart analysts who firmly believe that XRP is about to rocket. And one of them said, "The real FOMO and fun begins," like effectively now. And that's a direct quote. So plenty to unpack here. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, as I record this video, it is 12:48 p.m. Central Time, Saturday, August 9th, 2025. XRP is $3.28 with a 24-hour high this morning being $3.34. So for XRP, mostly sideways price action the last 24 hours, but don't get complacent. We ain't going to stay here. That's for damn sure. Here's the Bitcoin price at $116,643, mostly sideways for Bitcoin. But still, there's plenty of interesting developments, as I mentioned at the outset of the video here. And I want to share with you this post from chart analyst Tech Dev. Shared this with his 540,000 followers on X. He wrote, "The market's job for the last 4 years has been to make most forget that what's about to happen can happen." Now, that resonated with me. In fact, I'm going to like that and hit a repost on that one right there. Absolutely 100% correct. That's what markets do to people. They beat you up. They make you feel like it's never going to happen. You know, think about the bear market, the depths of the bear market, so many people were emotionally devastated, panic sold, and now a bunch of people are impatient. Like, oh, is it ever going to happen? Some people actually thinking that the cycle's already peaked. Think about that recently. Like, that's not the vibe over here on the Moon Lambo channel. Hell no, because that doesn't make any logical sense. You'd have to completely ignore historic precedent to believe that what's most probable is that the top's already, and that's just pure idiocy as far as I'm concerned. But people are feeling that way, and they're impatient, and that's just how it goes. But see, that's another indicator, actually. The fact that sentiment is what it is, that tells you we're not done. Because I will tell you this, at the top of any market cycle, and this has been true every single peak, at every single peak in crypto, there is euphoria. And when you get that first pullback, and you can look back, once you have the benefit of hindsight, you can look back and be like, yeah, that was the peak. Living in that moment, at that peak, when the pullback happens, people are like, just going to buy the dip. That's it. And we're going to go higher. Except for eventually you don't go higher. When the sentiment is everybody believes that first fall is not a big deal, that's when you should be alarmed. That's when things have gone too far. We're not there, though. Here's a post from the Nijin Tropic account. This is run by the co-founders of on-chain analytics firm Glassnode, which consistently does top-shelf work. And just this morning, they wrote, "If you think a persistent ETH pump is isolated and not bullish for altcoins, you don't understand how value systems work. Ethereum strength equals," and they got 3 things listed. Number 1, large holders and profit means capital flows. 2, treasuries flush means ecosystem funding. And 3, and this is the most important one in my estimation, 3, liquidity cascade, Bitcoin, then into ETH, mid/small caps. And this is the flywheel that starts alt season. So I only have one thing to nitpick there because I do broadly agree. There's just one little thing right here in point number 3 when he says liquidity cascade, Bitcoin, ETH, mid caps, small caps. They left out large caps. It should be Bitcoin, and then you can say ETH and then large caps since ETH's number 2 in market cap right now. But then you'd follow it up with mid/small caps, or you could just say Bitcoin, rest of the large caps, mid caps, small caps to be more precise. But he left out the rest of the large caps. So just to be clear, because XRP isn't part of that group, yes, that's going to happen. But broadly speaking, the concept absolutely is correct. Here's a post from the blockchain backer this morning. He noticed Ethereum too. Like, this is a big thing. We've been waiting for this to happen. And he said Ethereum highest price since December 2021, poking above all retrace levels. And again, folks, I understand that a lot of you don't give a damn about Ethereum, and that's perfectly fine. I hold it. It's the first crypto I ever bought. I'm not excited about it though. I'm excited to report this because I know what it means for XRP and everything else, because history rhymes with itself. It's coming. And so XRP community member Frecky, who's been around in crypto since 2011, had this to say. He says, inevitable. Wait till you see 5 in the price. $5,000 plus for Ethereum he's talking about. Media will go buck wild and pump it to normies and the market. The dead coin rises yet again to take over and bring quality altcoins much higher. Now that is correct. I'm telling you, mainstream media will not be able to shut the hell up about crypto when we're in euphoria. They will not be able to do it. It'll just be story after story. Like, just expect that. And at $5,000, if XRP reaches that market cap that Ethereum will have there, it'll mean $10 for XRP. So it's not exactly a big ask. It really isn't. If XRP matches that market cap, and there's historic precedent for that to happen, XRP coming for that number 2 spot in market cap, it's a really big deal. Here's a post from chart analyst Dan Gambardello, and he says, Bitcoin dominance just fell to 59%. We'll see soon if this altcoin breakout plays out differently than November 2024, or if it's just another altcoin season fake out. Yeah, well, as was pointed out in a video yesterday, I can't remember which chart analyst pointed this out, but every other instance when there's been a dip in Bitcoin dominance, it V-bottomed out of there. It rocketed back to the upside. This is the first time where this is not happening. And it makes sense. This is the time in the cycle where you would expect that it would have a breakdown. So you shouldn't be surprised by that. So no, I don't think that this is going to be like November over that whole thing over again in that sense. And no, don't get me wrong, like November was fun, but that, looking back, I guess you can pretty easily argue that wasn't the full-on alt season, even though alts were pumping, but then a lot of them fully retraced. But yeah, alt season, it's at hand, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, a little bit longer than that, whatever it ends up being, it's going, folks. I mean, look at this. As I record this video, Bitcoin dominance is 59.89%. Don't expect it to have some sort of revitalization. No, we're going to have alt season here. That is what's most probable. Here's a post from chart analyst Malleus. He says, this could be the first real breakdown below a weekly EMA 50 in Bitcoin dominance. Relative strength index breakdown in bearish retest completed. And he's got the little check emoji. This is big for alt. And that's why I'm reporting on this. I don't care if you care about Bitcoin. A lot of you don't, and that's fine. But you should care about it insofar as it bodes well for XRP and every other altcoin. And look at the RSI down here, breaking below this trend line on Bitcoin dominance. This thing's cooked, folks. It is absolutely cooked. And that is great, because as Bitcoin dominance falls, altcoin dominance increases, and that can happen as Bitcoin price itself does increase. Yes, Bitcoin price can increase, and I expect that it will have a parabolic push to the upside while dominance decreases. That would be normal. Here's the latest update from chart analyst Dom on this. He says, Bitcoin dominance is now trading under all important levels and showing its first potential downward continuation all cycle. That's right, folks. And so that's a small sampling of what I keep seeing from reputable chart analysts that I follow. And nothing in charting is ever guaranteed. Yes, I'll cede you that point. But let's talk about probabilities. The greatest probability is that Bitcoin dominance is cooked, altcoins are going to rocket, XRP is going to melt faces. That's what's most probable. Here's 3 posts from Charting Guy. The first one was from August 7th, 2 days ago. And he said, Ethereum and XRP remain the 2 strongest coins by a long shot. Large caps for the win until the end. And that shouldn't be surprising. I know that there are lots of people saying Ethereum was dead a few months ago when it was $1,400. Now it's $4,200. I told you it wasn't dead back then. That didn't make any logical sense. Markets find bottoms. Here we are. And he was right. He is right. I mean, he said it 2 days ago. Should have been easy to figure. I mean, if you're brand new to crypto, I could understand how you couldn't understand something like that, or you wouldn't. But it was just so obvious. Markets find bottoms. And I know that when markets are at the bottom, every single time whatever asset it is at the bottom, everybody says it's dead, whatever that asset is. But the price is low. That means it's dead. No, the price being low does not mean it's dead. You fools. Stop it. That is not what it means. That in and of itself does not mean that. Almost never. Now, yeah, you can have some things that actually legitimately go to zero, but given that the fundamentals for XRP and ETH didn't change, when people were saying when those assets were priced low that it meant they were dead, they were just foolish. Markets find bottoms, folks. So anyway, a couple hours ago, he reposted that and he said, Ethereum and XRP are flirting with all-time high. When they get a real breakout, things will get crazy. Now, folks, that is what's coming next. That is what's at hand. This is a time where it makes sense to be very excited. And look, I've been running this channel since late 2018. I am not normally talking like this. I only talk like this when it makes sense to actually be ridiculously excited. This is that moment, which is why I personally feel that way. And then I'll be just happy when we're in a bear market because it's fun and I enjoy those too because I get to collect stuff cheap. But this is the real fun part. This is the exciting part. Like all that work that we did preparing in the bear market, accumulating, this is the payoff part. And then he said, and this is just a couple hours ago, imagine $5,000 ETH and $4 XRP. Then the real FOMO and fun begins. Alt season starts with large caps, ladies and gentlemen. And folks, that is right. Remember when I was talking about rotation earlier in this video with the Nijin Tropic post? Yes, that's exactly correct. And that's why it's so wild to see that Ethereum is where it is, and XRP price is where it is, above $3. And we haven't even started the parabolic final euphoric phase of this thing. To have this high of a starting point, my God, what do you think this is going to look like by the end? It's going to be ridiculous. Like the back of your head. Bonus points if you know what I'm referencing. Without Google or AI help. Here's a post from chart analyst Bark. XRP is ready for a huge breakout. Target is $15. Next week will shock the world. Well, I hope it happens that quickly. No analyst can consistently, accurately predict time on anything, but we are in a moment where things happen faster than they do in the bear market. I mean, we're at the end phase of a bull cycle. Very obviously we are. So, yeah, at any given moment, it really could go. But, you know, I don't read too much into time predictions. The only thing I'll say is it's what I just said. I'll acknowledge, since we're at the end, there's a higher probability that they're correct when they say stuff like that. But $15 XRP is not crazy. Definitely not. Here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez. He says 50 million XRP were purchased by whales in the last 48 hours. That's right. Them splishy, splashy whales getting aquatic AF. Snatching up that cheap XRP, as they always do. And they will sell much higher. Undoubtedly. Whales don't get wrong-footed. Here's a post from Crypto General. Shared this with his 220,000 followers on X. It says, XRP looking strong here. And by the way, this is just 3 hours ago, roughly, this morning. It says, my entry zone are marked and orders are placed. I'm targeting around $3.50 for the coming days. So he thinks that this looks primed, obviously, and I'm seeing tons of posts. So what the analysts are seeing in the charts right now is making a lot of them say, guys, it looks like it's about to go, like it's about that time. I'm seeing lots of analysts say that. And he says, with Bitcoin breaking a major resistance of $117,000 and Ethereum outperforming. So those are signals you want. He says, it's time for alts to show some rally as well, and XRP is my top pick. Oh, gets a little golf clap. Hell yeah, XRP is my top pick. Of course, I'm biased. It's my largest individual holding. But I still genuinely believe it's going to melt faces. I'd be shocked if that doesn't happen this cycle. It's too well positioned. Here's a post from chart analyst CW. He says, the next sell wall for XRP exists around $3.65. So that's the all-time high territory. And after that, thin air, my friends. Here's a post from chart analyst Cryptolica. And basically it's an update from the same thing he keeps insisting is going to happen. $10 XRP. That's what he's pointing at here. $10 XRP. Again, won't be surprised to see that happen. And then there's also this, and this is a cool one. So this is also from Cryptolica. This is a total /XRP USD chart. This is just fun to look at right here. Look at this. So it's the entire crypto asset class priced against XRP. And you can see that, in 2024, I mean, look at what this looks like. And you can see, like, to get back, just to getting back to like the all-time high tier, like this is why I keep saying, to double or triple from here, just to get back to an all-time high, like that's not a big ask, So then you can talk about doubling or tripling price from here. Yeah, but then if you're talking about what the total crypto asset class is worth, what if it's worth 50% more or 100% more? Because the idea of the entire crypto asset class at its peak, getting close to doubling from here, I don't know if it'll happen, but that wouldn't be crazy. So then if you're looking at what that valuation would be, what does that mean for XRP if it's doubled or tripled based on that valuation? Way more. So it's not hard to see how you can get up there real quick. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph is Crypto. He says, once XRP breaks $3.41, $4.53 is next. Okay, I haven't seen anybody else cite that as a key level, $3.41. So if it really does start raging from there, okay, fine, credit where it's due. But most analysts are talking more about, around where the all-time high area is. So this would be an outlier perspective, and usually when there's an outlier perspective, they're wrong. I'm just being honest with you, not to be rude towards him or anything, but I just find that's usually the case. And then when the analysts that I follow, given that they're talented, reputable, have great track records, when most of them agree, they're almost always correct. So that's why I love tracking so many chart analysts, and it's very time intensive, let's say, but it's worth it. And it's fun to track this stuff. I mean, when you got skin in the game, all this stuff is fun, frankly. So yeah, the best is yet ahead. The best is yet ahead. Everything is firing off like we'd want it to. I hope you've been practicing your happy dance in the mirror, because when you have to break it out in public, you don't want to look like a dork. You got to have like a really solid and impressive one. That's what I want to see from y'all. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.